France and Scotland in the Six Nations 2021 has been postponed. This was the news out yesterday. News that nobody wanted to see another positive case in the French camp after seemingly having broken the chain with several days of no positive cases after the initial flurry of, Gaultier, Dupont, Vincent, and so on and so on. It looked like they'd broken the chain, and it looked like a maybe not full strength French team, but still a very strong French team would be able to take on the Scots at home. But with this latest positive case, it means the match has had to be postponed. Now, if you look back to the Six Nations in 2020, that's the precedent for this. That seems to be the course of action that the Six Nations takes. They don't cancel games. Remember, Super Rugby was canned. The Major League Rugby 2020 was canned. The Autumn Nations Cup, when they had COVID cases, games were flat out cancelled. Whereas the Six Nations is absolutely loath to cancel games. They have gone and gone with postponement instead. Now, not everybody's happy with postponement because from the Scottish point of view, it seems to kind of, at the moment anyway, be a bit of a disadvantage in terms of access to players. If you haven't seen the statement, there's one that's come out. It says, Scotland head coach Gregor Townsend said, while we fully accept the decision of the testing oversight group, we recommend postponing our match against France on medical grounds. It's disappointing not to be able to play the fixture on Sunday. So pretty political, well, neutral in that tone. We had a good week with our players and we were focused and ready to represent their country in Paris and continue our progress in this year's Guinness Six Nations. Throughout the tournament, and the previous Autumn Nations Cup, we have worked hard to maintain strict COVID protocols which have enabled us to select our strongest possible teams for these important international fixtures. Now that is shot fired, number one, if I'm reading between the lines. And then he says, we'll wait to see what the options are available to play the match against France, but it remains our position that we want to have all our eligible players available for us for that fixture so we can compete to the level we would have done this weekend. That's hinting towards the lack of availability of players. Finally, we wish the French players and staff affected by COVID well in their recovery and look forward to playing them at a future date. So, a pretty measured answer from the Scots in this one. And remember, no one's a winner in this one. This is the last result anybody wanted to happen. But it's a little bit of a shot fired because I know the game is not going to go ahead with positive cases. Like, I'm not suggesting that at all. If there's positive cases, you can't be playing the game. That's just asking for the whole tournament to be rife with infections. So you can't play the game. But the postponement is going to be tough on Scotland, as from Scotland's point of view, they may not be able to secure the release of their players at a later date. This year's fixtures list is already pretty horrendous. You got Lions Tour in there as well. So when do they find the time to play this game? That's question number one. Will Scotland have all their players available? That's number two, because if they don't have all their players available, that's unfair to Scotland. And this is not of their doing, which I think is maybe my assumption. That's kind of the point of view that Gregor Townsend in the Scotland camp would be taking. What it also does seem to imply, though, when he says, we've taken the strictest measures to make sure essentially the bubble wasn't broken. It seems to imply that maybe France haven't done enough. I know there's a bit going on in the French media. Some of you guys have let me know that feedback. There's a bit of a suggestion, I don't know how true it is, but that maybe Gaultier is the culprit in terms of not being where he should be at the right times, maybe mingling with people he shouldn't be mingling. That's all hearsay. I don't know how much you take into that, but I can certainly feel that suggestion from Gregor Townsend in that statement. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's just what it feels like to me. Now, if you look at other options, if you're saying postponement is maybe not the ideal solution, what are the other options? How's it going to be fair? If you cancel the game and go 28-0 Scotland, that's what happened in the Autumn Nations Cup. Is that fair to France? Some people would say, no, that's not fair. COVID is just a byproduct of the times we live in. It's not their fault they had COVID cases in their camp. Other people would say, yes, you were not able to maintain the integrity of your bubble, so you losing 28-0 is absolutely fair. Scotland, it'd be pretty hollow, but I think they would take that rather than having a postponed game with potentially not their full squad. If they can get a postponed game with their full squad, then this may all be moot. The other option is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the way the Premiership are doing it, some of you will. When the Premiership games are being cancelled, one team's getting 4 points, that's the team that didn't cause the cancellation, and the losing team is getting 2 points, as if to say, it's kind of your fault, but we're not going to just like absolutely hammer you for it. We'll give you a more measured response. So I don't know. Like I said, there's no perfect solution to this one. It's hard. But those are two of the potential other options to postponing, because postponing, at least on face value in terms of finding a spot for the fixture and having the right players available, may prove to be difficult. I'm not sure what the French availability will be like as well. I remember the Autumn Nations Cup, they weren't able to secure the release of all their players either. So is it fair? Hopefully they can find a fair time to get the game played, which is not going to disrupt the calendar for the year, and everyone can have all their players and everyone's going to be sweet with COVID, no cases and whatnot. But yeah, it's a bit of a mess at the moment. But what do you guys reckon? Is postponing the best course of action? Like I said, I'm not saying the game should have been played at all. I don't think that's an option. That's asking for way too much trouble. Can't play the game. Should it be postponed? Should it be 28-0 like the Autumn Nations Cup? Or should it be some kind of middle ground like the way they do it in the Premiership? Have to wait and see how things play out. Obviously, my preferred course of action is the game is postponed. They magically find a fixture date that's not going to interrupt with anyone, and both teams, strongest teams, are able to play. Whether I'm dreaming, probably. But anyway. You guys let me know your thoughts. It is a pity. We'll monitor the case. I'll echo Gregor Townsend's words and hope that all the guys affected health-wise come through unscathed and are back fit and playing rugby soon. But yeah, disappointing one. But that is still the world we live in for the moment. Hopefully not for too much longer. Anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. Talk to you again soon. See you later.